Friday at 5 p.m. usually feels like a universal release valve. You pack your bag, step out of the office, and for 48 hours, your time is your own. But that relief is often short-lived, quickly replaced by the heavy, familiar weight of the Sunday scaries. Why do we live like this? We've reached a point where almost every human on Earth synchronizes their entire existence to this exact cadence of 5 days on and 2 days off. We treat this 40-hour schedule as a constant, like gravity. We orbit our diets, our sleep patterns, and our families around it, as if it's an inevitable part of the planet's rotation. In reality, this rhythm is a recent human invention. It is a manufactured system, engineered to solve very specific problems that arose during the birth of modern industry. This schedule grew out of factory floor chaos and the needs of early mass production. Because these origins are historical rather than biological, the rhythm of our modern lives is based on a set of rules designed for a world that no longer exists. During the early Industrial Revolution, machines dictated the pace. Factory owners demanded 6 days of rigid labor, leaving only Sunday for religious observance. This was a jarring shift. Pre-industrial work was usually task-based. You worked when the crops needed harvesting or the order was due. Early factory workers frequently resisted the transition to a relentless mechanical clock. They rebelled through absenteeism. Workers often spent their only day of rest drinking heavily, and when Monday morning arrived, they simply refused to show up. This became so widespread it earned a name, Saint Monday. It was an unofficial holiday that transformed Monday into a day of recovery and leisure. For owners, this was an operational nightmare. Steam engines and massive looms were expensive to maintain, and leaving them idle because of a half-empty assembly line drained profits. To fix this, managers began offering half of Saturday off as a compromise, provided the men showed up sober and ready on Monday. The earliest version of our weekend was a pragmatic bribe to keep a hungover workforce at their machines. By the early 1900s, that Saturday half-day was no longer enough to manage a growing and diverse industrial workforce. In 1908, a cotton mill in New England became the site of a new logistical bottleneck. While the Christian owners required Sunday for their Sabbath, a large group of Jewish immigrant workers strictly observed Shabbat from Friday evening through Saturday. Operating the mill with a fractured staff on Saturdays caused constant production delays. The factory eventually instituted a full 2-day closure, allowing both groups to observe their respective days of rest without disrupting the machines. This milestone showed that a continuous 2-day weekend could improve manufacturing efficiency, providing a template for a truce between religious observance and the assembly line. In 1926, the 2-day weekend moved from a localized compromise to a high-profile industrial standard when it was adopted by Henry Ford. Ford's move to a 5-day, 40-hour week was driven by a series of cold economic calculations. He believed that reducing hours would actually increase his bottom line. Ford noticed that exhausted laborers made expensive, dangerous mistakes. By providing more rest, he reduced accidents and turnover while maintaining high production speeds. He also recognized a flaw in the 6-day schedule. Workers who spent all their time in a factory lacked the opportunity to spend their wages on consumer goods. Ford reasoned if people had 2 days of leisure, they would want to travel. To do that, they'd need to buy cars, tires, and fuel. The experiment was a financial triumph, proving that leisure time was a vital tool for stimulating a mass consumption economy. This success helped turn the weekend into a standard fixture of American life. It functioned as an economic lever, designed to transform laborers into a reliable consumer class and keep the gears of the market turning. Today, digital workers continue to operate on the same industrial schedule Ford standardized for his auto plants in 1926. Applying a rigid quota designed for manual assembly lines to a modern knowledge economy often results in massive inefficiencies. This illustrates the productivity theater gap. The mandatory workweek stays flat at 40 hours, but actual mental output peaks early and plummets. We spend the remaining hours pretending to be busy. Modern trials show dropping hours to 32 stabilizes productivity, aligning schedules with human output. The 5-day workweek is a solution to logistical problems that are over a century old. Now that we understand its history, we are free to move past it and design a system that actually fits the way we work today.